Welcome back to the New York Sherpa Show. We're in Auburn, New York today, and this is a center point for the story and the history of equal rights. That's why the New York State Equal Rights Heritage Center is right here. But I want to talk about a world changer, a pioneer in human rights, Harriet Tubman. This was her chosen hometown for over 50 years. This is where she came to live and built a community around her. I want to show you some of the sites and the places that were so important to her, and also we can even go to her final resting place right here in Auburn, New York. So I'm going to take you on a tour of this whole equal rights story centering around the life of Harriet Tubman. Let's go. So make sure you take some time to come into the New York State Equal Rights Heritage Center. It tells and unpacks really an amazing human rights story. New York State's support of equal rights often led the world because the abolitionists, the women's rights, and the LGBTQ movement all started in New York State. And this center beautifully shows you that progression. So it's important to even see the Harriet Tubman connection here. There's a walking tour that you can take to actually see many of the Harriet Tubman sites. I'm here with National Park Service Ranger Bryant. If you can just give us a tour, an idea of this tour, where it steps off, how long it is, etc.
Yep, so the Harriet Tubman National Historical Park has a tour starting here at the Auburn Equal Rights Heritage Center. This tour covers about 2 miles, it's about 2 hours. We visit Harriet Tubman herself, she's interred in Fort Hill Cemetery, as well as her church on Parker Street. This tour is usually on Friday, Saturday, Sundays, about 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay, awesome. We're looking to go take this tour and see what it's all about. And so this is a site you're really not going to want to miss. Of course, this is Harriet Tubman's actual home. The original home on this site had been wood, and she and her husband rebuilt it after a fire. This is the brick that she laid with her husband by hand with clay that was right from this site. So check the availability of tours of this site, because they do give tours, and you can also get into the Harriet Tubman Visitor Center based on availability. But many of the tour guides will say to place your hand right on the home, because this is touching the bricks that she touched herself. So this is the home of William and Frances Seward. It's another very important stop on understanding the history of Harriet Tubman's story here. William Seward, as you may know, was the governor of New York State. He was a senator, and he was also the Secretary of State in Lincoln's administration. They tried to assassinate him the same night Lincoln was assassinated, unsuccessfully. But they were dear friends of Harriet Tubman, and even Frances Seward sold Harriet her estate, the 25 acres that she built her home on. The basement of this home has a stop on the Underground Railroad. They were abolitionists and very passionately supportive. So I want to show you their home. So we're in the Seward House basement right now. This was a stop on the Underground Railroad. Prior to 1850, this was the kitchen, but after a renovation, they had moved the kitchen, so they opened this up to be used for freedom seekers. That's how dedicated the Sewards were to the abolitionist movement, literally bringing people into their home to harbor them through the path of the Underground Railroad. I also want to show you a gallery that's right next to this room that shows the Seward and Tubman family connections, which they ran really deep. So we're still in the basement. This would have been the former dining room, but now it's this gallery that takes you through the timeline of Harriet Tubman's life, starting at birth, taking you through her self-emancipation, and making some of these connections, like the Frederick Douglass connection, and of course the story of the connection with the Seward family, and so many of the stories and relationships that Harriet had here in Auburn. Really want to check this out. So another really neat stop is just behind the Equal Rights Heritage Center on William Street. It's the Westminster Presbyterian Church. There was an original Presbyterian church in Auburn, but the congregation had a disagreement over the abolition movement, and they split off and formed the Westminster Presbyterian Church that's here now. So it's a cool stop because this is where Harriet Tubman married Nelson Davis. So check this out while you're here. So we're here at Fort Hill Cemetery. This is Harriet Tubman's final resting place. And I just want you to notice a couple of things about the grave markers here. First of all, it says Harriet Tubman Davis. Nelson Davis was her second husband. He was the mason, the bricklayer, when I referenced before on how they laid the bricks one by one with the clay that was on their own property to build their home in town. So he was the mason. But it also says U.S. veteran. She's inducted into the Military Hall of Fame in the Intelligence Division for her spy work during the Civil War. But it's also said that she's the only woman to lead men into battle in the Civil War. She was just such an incredible figure of the time, and this is just really such a sacred space. So this is the Thompson Memorial AME Zion Church on Parker Street in Auburn. It's not open to the public. It's being restored into a national park site. It was actually struck by lightning. They have a lot of restoration to do before this can really be an interpretive site. But it was Harriet Tubman's house of worship, and not just her house of worship. They've referred to it as the Freedom Church because it was also Frederick Douglass and Sojourner Truth's house of worship. This is where Harriet Tubman's funeral was held. So it's a special place, and I can't wait to be able to see more of this property as it evolves over time. All right, so when you're ready to grab a bite to eat, just one block behind the Equal Rights Heritage Center is the downtown, and it's a quaint little downtown with shops and eateries. You can check out Cafe 108 or Parker's Grill. I'm gonna go check out Prison City Pub and Brewery. Let's go. So I hope you've enjoyed this look into just a few of the experiences that are around this whole Auburn area in the Harriet Tubman story. I love this statue. I love how you look up to it because I think so many people have looked up to her as a world changer in human rights. I love the pistol tucked in the belt. She was such a cool person. And I just love the feeling that this area has given us of being the home of the equal rights story for New York State and also influencing the whole country and the world. We are dropping a pin in the Auburn area for the Harriet Tubman experience. This is certainly one of New York's best experiences, and I want you to bring your family here and see this for yourself as we roll along on the New York Sherpa Show. We'll see you at the next destination.